I'm here at the Filmfest Hamburg, and I'm very honored to have writer and director Michel Hazanavicius here to talk about your new film, The Most Precious of Cargoes, or das kostbarste aller Güter, as the film is called in German. But before we dive deeper into your film, why don't you tell our viewers just in a few words what the film is about?
The movie is it's a story told as a tale. It's based on a book written by an old author, a French author named Jean-Claude Rimbert, and the story takes place in the World War II and in the forest in Poland, and it's the story of a kid who's been thrown from a train, and a woodcutter and his wife will take the kid and bring it home, and the movie is about all this destiny: the woodcutter's wife, the kid, and the man who threw the baby, and it's all these stories together.
As you just said, the film is based on the best-selling book from Jean-Claude Rimbert, but with whom you also wrote the screenplay. Yes. And you've known him for a very, very long time because he was a good friend of your parents. So
He's still. Yeah, that's true.
Good. And so is it only logical that you get to be the director, or how did you come on board?
No, it was not the first. There was nothing logical. I knew him since I was born, actually, but it's the first time we worked together. He used to write for stage plays, and he worked with Costa for I don't know, maybe 3 scripts, and he wanted to ask me to direct the movie also because he knew that I was drawing, and they knew it would be an animation movie. There was nothing really logical also because I never wanted to make a movie about this topic because it was I don't know, maybe too intimate for me, because I come from a Jewish family from Eastern Europe, and I don't know, this story was very inside of the family, but I didn't want to make movies about it especially. And then when I read the book, the story was so beautiful and also so full of hope. Paradoxically, it was because the main characters are the writers, and these people, the writers, the one who saved lives, are maybe the most beautiful in this whole dark period of our history.
Yeah, I really, really loved your film.
Thank you.
So this is your first animated film, and why did you choose to tell it this way?
I think for me it was the only way to tell that story, because it's very, very difficult to represent what happened in the camps and to represent the camps themselves. I think I'm not able to ask to actors to pretend they are in a train in the direction of Auschwitz, or to pretend they are deported in Auschwitz. So the advantage with drawing is that they do not lie, they do not pretend, they have no other lives out of the frame. They are just here to suggest and to evocate what happened, and but the audience makes a lot of the work. When you do animation, you're not handcuffed to realism and to reality. You propose an evocation, and really, yeah, the audience feel the empty room of the narration.
Yeah, I really felt that. You just mentioned that you also did the drawing, so tell me about the process of how you created this specific look.
It was a very difficult and chaotic process because it's my first animation movie, but I didn't do it with a co-director. I did it by myself, I mean with all the crew, of course. They have uses, and I have my own way to direct movies, so we have to find a way to work together when we finally find it, painfully. First of all, for me, it was drawing has always been something that I was doing for me. I never wanted to show my drawings or to do an exhibition or to do an animation movie. It was very just for me. And then I had to draw for other people and to show my drawings. So that was, first of all, it was very difficult. Also, drawing one image is very different from a drawing made for being part of a movement. So maybe I was a little bit too, I don't know, too exigent at the beginning. So we really had to find a way. But what's interesting is that I didn't take this movie as an animation movie. So it was just a movie, and I had to use animation, so we use animation, but I really always thought about it as a movie, a simple movie. And and finally we find the right way to work together.
Absolutely. What I was most intrigued by was the style of the drawings, because even though the faces mostly consist of rough strokes, you can read the faces very well. How did you achieve that?
That was part of my exigence, and the acting, to respect a sober, almost realistic acting. So I didn't want a cartoonesque acting or that kind of thing. And also, when I read the book, I felt it was like I was reading a classical. It was like the story was pre-existing to the book itself, and I wanted to recreate that kind of feeling. So I start from very classical images of the painting of the 19th century, and this was the starting. But that created a style which is very classical and that respects anatomy and perspective, and it's not things that we are really used to do anymore. So that was part of the difficulty of creating that movie.
Films like yours are still very important, especially these days with the far right rising all over Europe. Do you have an explanation why people still fall for these people? Just like history hasn't taught them anything?
Well, I do, but I'm just a movie maker. I mean, I'm not a historian, I'm not a politician, I'm not a teacher, so I'm just here to propose a story, to tell a story, and I hope that the story will find an echo to a lot of people, and to remind them that even in the darkest situation, some people did the right choice, and some people find the right way to behave, and that's exactly what I made that story.
Alexandre Dispar created the score. How did you two work together, and at what stage was he involved?
It's very easy to work with people with so much talent, so it's always easier. He's a very busy man. He composes and directs a lot of scores for movies, so usually he gives you 2 months. For this one he gave me 3 months, which is huge. And for an animation movie you work for maybe 2 or 3 years with temporary tracks. And so I spent all these times with like great directors and great musics and great symphonies. And then he came at the end, and in a few weeks I had forgotten everything I heard for 2 years. And so he's very, very good, and he did a great score.
Absolutely. Yeah. As you mentioned in the beginning, you wrote the script together with
Jean-Claude, yes.
Yeah. And how did you two work together?
Well, the thing is, because we're friends, I mean, he's 85 now, but I'm not 85, but still we're friends. And He trusted me, and also, as I told you, he wrote some script for Costa. So he has been in that situation of adapting a book from another author and having the author behind you saying, no, you can't change this, you have to respect that, and you have to put this. And so he didn't want to be that guy. So he trusted me, and even sometimes he was not agree with some choices I made, and say, okay, if you think it's good, I trust you. At the end, he's very happy of the movie, and but the way he didn't want to rewrite that story, so he was like a guide for me. I would every day I would go in his house, and we would speak a lot. And I would say, this is what I want to do, and say, yeah, you can do this and this. And we were talking about many things, but he really, it's like he led the writing more than writing together. And for example, one of the first drafts, because I did my homework, so I read a lot of things about the camps and everything, and maybe I was a little bit too much pedagogic or didactic about the camps, and he's the one who told me, you don't have to, we are not teachers. If people are interested, they will find a way to find information. We are just here to tell that story that means just one thing. In the worst situation, you still can have some beautiful things happening.
Yeah. The process of making an animated feature surely differs from doing a real live action film. So did you have to change your ways of doing a film, or was it the same process?
No, it's the process. I mean, the objectives, the goal are exactly the same. The job is the same. You have to tell a story and create emotion with images and sounds. Okay, but so once you say that, everything is different. You don't create a shot the same way. It took 3 years to have your first shot, and you don't really work with the actors the same way. They just bring the voice at the end of the process. But when you do a live action, life is entering into the shots, and you welcome it, and you organize it, and you organize your story with it. But here, nothing exists out of the frame. You have to create everything, and you have to choose and to make decisions for every single part of the frame. So that's like a huge difference. Your relation to time is different. Your relation to the crew is different, because people are here for a long time, so sometimes they leave the movie. Sometimes you have new collaborators. You have to re-explain everything, all the ways and the ways and the ways. Every changing is very long, so yeah, it's very different.
Okay. Let's wrap up on a little talk and do just a quick view into the future. What's coming next?
The next thing is not a movie. The next thing is a book.
Okay.
Yeah, I went to Ukraine. I've been in Ukraine a few times, and the next book will be kind of a gallery of portraits of Ukrainian defenders, people who are fighting, and it will be text and sketches.
Okay.
And, that's it.
Merci beaucoup.
Mais je vous en prie.
Et bonne chance avec le film.
Le français est parfait. Merci beaucoup.
Merci beaucoup.
Super.
Danke schön.